Hey everyone, it's Charlie here. Welcome to today's lesson. A bit different today. I thought I'd just do a kind of advice lesson on how to find a guitar teacher. Me being a guitar teacher, hopefully I feel that I'm in a place qualified enough to advise on that. It's kind of come from the fact that I am fortunate enough to have people who ask me for lessons and I'm not always able to help due to time constraints. So I'm often kind of helping them with finding someone else or pointing them in the direction. Well, actually, it's really difficult to the uninitiated to know where to look, how to approach it, what you're looking for, all those sort of things. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to just discuss and kind of bring up some points that I think are really valid and might help you if you're kind of completely clueless and you're looking for some guitar lessons. One thing to consider is that I think it is quite a big deal, especially if you're looking for your child. Maybe you've got a young child who wants some lessons, you're looking for an adult who's going to be spending, some time with them every week, concentrated time, and you're entrusting them to, obviously guide the lesson, teach them stuff, and obviously look after, the child in some way, shape or form. I think the most important thing above all, any qualifications or anything, is that you find someone who actually cares about the lessons and actually cares about teaching and the music. Now what I mean by that is not someone that's kind of just doing it because they absolutely feel they have to and they dread every lesson and they don't do any lesson prep and they don't really care. Now obviously it's very difficult to tell whether people care or not, but it kind of comes from the fact, do they listen to you? Are they good at listening to what you want? Are they listening to the things you're asking, or are they just telling you that they've got a great gig, they've got one tonight and they need to leave early and they're fantastic and their life's great? You need someone that's actually going to listen to your concerns, any concerns you might have, or listen to what your wants are, whether you're asking on behalf of your child or maybe you've got lessons for yourself. So that's the first thing, people that actually listen, actually care. Then I've put down people with some sort of qualification or experience. Now, believe me, I don't actually think having all the qualifications under the sun in music necessarily make you a better teacher. I don't even think that even if you've got a teaching qualification, it makes you necessarily a better teacher. What I do think is that some level of study and or kind of experience is a good thing. I mean, I normally say anything sort of post grade 8 perhaps is a good place to start. That said, if the prospective teacher has no qualifications, it doesn't mean they're going to be a bad teacher. In fact, they could be a fantastic teacher. They could be the world's greatest, but they might just not have a certificate. But most people do, they have some sort of training behind them. So that's another tick in the box. A DBS check is another one. They're called various things around the world, but generally speaking, if you're asking someone to teach your child, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask, have you got a full DBS check? Because it's not unreasonable if you're going to be left, if your child is left alone with them for a sustained period of time under their care. Now obviously, if that tutor works in a school, they're going to have one. You'll find again that most people who are teaching do, and most people will obviously have it advertised anyway. Cool, another one. Last one, and it kind of goes back to the first few points, is that I think you just find someone who's really passionate about it. Through talking to them, discussing them in a lesson, and watching them in a lesson, which is another thing I'll come on to, you're able to get a bit of a feel for, are these people actually passionate about the music, and are they going to be able to put this across to me, or whether it be me or my child, when I'm teaching the lessons. So those are the kind of main parts that I would start with. I would then say, how do you actually find them? Practically, how do you actually find a guitar teacher these days? Even with the internet and all its bells and whistles and everything, it is actually quite difficult. So the first thing is, above everything, above Google, the best way is, of course, word of mouth. Word of mouth is brilliant because you've got a friend, a family friend, a mate, whoever, who says, oh yeah, my kid has lessons with this great guy, or I have lessons with this great girl, or whatever, and you've got an instant recommendation. They've kind of vetted them for you, presumably you sort of trust them, and you're away you go. Next, obviously, Google. I would just search something like guitar teachers close to me. Obviously, you'll get a little map and there'll be a load of guys and girls around where you live. Send a blanket email to all of them with hi, I'm looking for some lessons. I'm, whether it's for your child, I want to learn this, I want to be doing all this sort of stuff. A few standard questions. Do you visit me? How much do you charge? All this sort of stuff. The reason I think you should do that is because your replies back will tell you a lot about the teacher. If they take 3 weeks to get back to you and they give you a 2-line email, that doesn't apologise for how late they were, there's probably not the person to go for. But if they get back to you within 2 or 3 days and they sound, you know, they sound well organised, you might find that that kind of gives you that great first impression, and then you sort of hopefully whittled it down from there. From there, you then can kind of take the next step. You go and book a trial lesson. I don't mean free, don't expect a free trial lesson. Some people do, some people don't. Ask if you can sit in on that lesson, if it's your child. And just get a feel for the tutor, find out what they're like. Are they listening? Goes back to the first point. Are they passionate? Do they care? All those things you should easily be able to sort of tell within the first lesson. And then there's kind of no obligation for you to book any more. And if you have to go on a couple of trial lessons with different tutors, then that's what you have to do. And then you know for sure you've kind of got the best deal and you found the best person for you. When you're in the trial lesson, make sure that you ask lots of questions, or prior to that, you know, what sort of things are you going to teach? What would you suggest? What books do we need to get? Are they going to do any grades? Do you think grades are a good idea? Do you not? You know, again, you're getting a kind of feel for what these people think, and if they care, hopefully they should give you quite sort of detailed answers. One more thing about finding teachers, this might come across as a slightly controversial comment, but I always think that if you can find someone that works for themselves, so where you're paying the tutor directly, so they might be listed on a directory like musicteachers.co.uk, or RGT is another one that I use a lot. They've got a registry of tutors, so that they might be listed somewhere, but at least you're dealing with them directly. I would definitely favour that over going to an agency where you're paying an agency fee and they're paying the tutor. Now, it's not to say that there aren't great tutors working for agencies, there are loads of them, but I think if you're dealing directly, you're giving the tutor a better deal, and I think through that you're going to get more for your money. That's everything there. Hopefully it's given you some food for thought for finding a guitar teacher in your area, and if you've got any questions, just pop them on the video link and I'll answer them. And last thing is, don't forget, I'm doing a guitar retreat this summer in France. All the accommodation and food is provided. If you're interested, go to my website and email me, or just email me direct, and we can look and discuss further detail. Cheers guys, I'll see you soon.